aims to provide some answers and, in some cases, closure for families of those who vanished. The organization is hosting a conference at The Hague today. Her Royal Highness Queen Noor of Jordan is the commissioner of the ICMP, and she joins us now live from The Hague. Your Majesty, thank you very much for being with us. Give us an idea of just how wide of a scope this issue is of missing persons worldwide.
Well, since World War II, millions have gone missing in the world due to war, organized crime, human trafficking, but also, as you mentioned earlier, due to natural disasters and migration as well. We began our work after 1996 in the Western Balkans, after the wars there of the 1990s, and the success that we've achieved there, unprecedented in accounting for 70% of persons missing from the tens of thousands in those wars, and the lessons we've learned that can apply to all missing persons the world over have led us now to provide assistance to about 25 countries, and also to convene the first ever conference to address the issue of missing persons from all causes, irrespective of location or circumstance.
What kind of lessons did you say that the organization has learned, and in terms of how this can be prevented or at least helped going forward?
Well, one of the lessons that we learned, which I would add to your list of the humanitarian and other imperatives for trying to provide a factual and accurate and, in our belief, scientifically based understanding of what has happened, is also that we've discovered in the Western Balkans and elsewhere, missing persons issues can either, if addressed properly, help to reduce the recurrence, the possibility of the recurrence of conflict, and help to promote conflict recovery and reconciliation among different groups, and therefore better prospects for the future. This is the case in war-torn areas around the world. We are working in Iraq and Libya right now, among other conflict regions. We estimate, there are estimates that in Iraq maybe 250,000 to 1 million persons are missing from the over many decades recently, that in Syria perhaps 50,000, 17,000 from the recent regimes, and another 30,000 just from this current conflict that's underway. And in other parts of the world, there's a need for an impartial, apolitical organization with kind of capacity that we have, the largest DNA identification laboratory system in the world, the most cost efficient and efficiently run institution that's capable of IDing up to 10,000 missing persons cases in a year. That is why this conference is being held, bringing together experts and representatives of countries that have suffered the crime of missing persons, and recognize that it's absolutely imperative to try to resolve the uncertainty on the basis of the best forensic science, and at the same time to be developing rule of law institutions that can ensure that conflict recovery and peace processes are considered credible, balanced, fair, and will then most likely lead to success.
The reality is, and perhaps the difficulty is for organizations such as yours, as much of it as there are the statistics that you've talked about, the reality is these are real people that we're talking about, families who've lost loved ones, people who've just gone and disappeared. How then, what are the challenges, I should say, is it for you to put a human face to an already very tragic human story?
Well, I'm glad you raised that, because in fact one of the key elements in our approach, which is, as I said, based on forensic science, rule of law, development of institutions, legislation, etc., is we work with the families, and the families have been very much engaged and are very much to be credited for so much of the success we've had in the Western Balkans. We wouldn't have been able to account for 70% of those people, 90% of the missing from the massacre of Srebrenica, one of the atrocities since World War II, without the active engagement of the families. And they provide genetic material. We're talking right now, actually, with Syrian transitional justice NGOs about perhaps trying to begin to acquire genetic material and other data from refugees in camps surrounding Syria, and when possible within Syria, to begin the process of addressing their missing person cases as soon as possible after the conflict has ended, to try to help advance peace process, reconciliation, and a more peaceful future there as well. It's a very complex issue, and there are many component parts. As you said, one of the most important is providing a degree of certainty to the families of the missing, and it's not just the families, it's entire societies that have to rebuild trust with the state, and citizens with the state.